So the two flashlights you see here are probably the most popular Keychain EDC flashlights on the market today. The Aurora A5 and the S11. The S11 is the one with the black switch. It's produced by multiple companies, but they all seem to have the same commonality is the circuit board that they use to drive the flashlight. The Aurora A5 sells for $37.95 and the S11 sells for $4.50. So we're going to get into the details of the differences between these two flashlights coming up. Stick around. Okay, we're going to test out some flashlights in the backyard over here. We're in a bit of a wintry mixed winter storm right now, so kind of a rain and other things combo. Let me see if I can flip this over for you. And we got some snow on the ground and some rain coming down all over. So the first one I'm going to do is the Aurora A5 from RovyVon, and then there you go. That's the next to lowest, and that's the next one up from the lowest. And this is the 600 lumens, 600 plus lumens, 650. That's pretty impressive. I mean, look at the size of this flashlight. It's just ridiculous. The thing is putting out so much light. Wow. Anyway, the other thing you can see too is that you can see that it glows in the dark. This one glows green. The ARs glow green. The A5s don't even glow green. And I think the A7 is the one kind of glows in a bluish color. The other one I have in my hand is the S11. I'll do that in a bit, but yeah, it's pretty impressive what this thing puts out. That's a lot of power for such a small light. So this is the S11. That's the brightest mode. So it's nowhere near as bright as the other one was. Especially at distance, you can see it kind of drops off pretty quickly compared. I'll see you in a bit. I'm going back inside. Outside here in New York is pretty typical this time of year, but it kind of highlights one of the major features about these differences between these two lights. So this one has a much higher dust and water rating, and the seal that's around the switch is a big deal. It's very well sealed, and then in the back by the USB port, there's a silicone seal on the back too here, gasket that covers the USB port, and it's a much tighter seal than you're going to get with these S11s. So the S11s are pretty much, I think it's just a latex seal that just pops on here, and I've dropped this out of here numerous times, and there are times where I've lost this thing and then I found it on the floor. It's just a matter of time before it's gone completely, and then the guts are pretty much exposed on the inside. The same problem occurs here with the power switch. The power switch is just a latex gasket that's just over the top of it, and then your guts are all exposed. So again, the output of this, they claim it's through 300 lumens. It's not. It's got to be in the 200 range, I'd say. It's lasted a while, but as you can see, everything is it's slowly degrading as far as the power switch is going, and the gasket that's on the back as well. I mean, I can still fire this thing up. Yeah, I can't even reach the switch. Once that button is off, you won't even be able to power this thing up if that button pops out or it leaks in there. So this is, again, getting back to the A5, this is a totally different animal as far as the quality of the workmanship and the engineering on it. It's completely different. And then that 650 output is really a deciding factor for me going back over to this system. I've been using these for a while, and as you know, I recently switched up to a different, larger flashlight. But with this, I might reconsider that again, just because it's a lot smaller. It's going to give me more latitude to work with, and I'm possibly going this way. It's pretty impressive. Anyway, a lot more to talk about. I've put together some data too. I did some testing on all three of these as far as power output. I have a little comparison chart, and it's kind of interesting. Stick around. I think you'll enjoy this. So I'm going to give kind of a high-level overview of these three flashlights. These two are S11s. Again, they have the same probably circuit board inside, and I know they have the same Samsung LED in the top. This one claims to have a 500 milliamp hour battery, and this one claims to have a 300 milliamp battery. but both of them have the exact same run times listed on their manuals for each of the power sources that it has. So one of them is lying. So they work fine. I mean, you saw in some of the tests earlier that they're both pretty much equivalent and put out the same beam for the same duration of time. So I'm not going to go by what the manual says. I'm going to go by what I see. This is the A5. The A5 is made by RovyVon. It is not one of these generics like those two. And it comes with a 2-year warranty. It's got a side light system. If you press 1, 2, 3, comes on. It has 2 different levels for side lighting as well. So we talked about the front beam earlier, which goes up to 650 lumens, which is incredible. And I got to mention something too. 650 lumens, if you put your finger in front of this thing, it will burn it. You do not want to do that. When I was shooting the thumbnail for this video, I was used to doing that with these other twos because the power so low. I had no idea this thing would get up to that kind of level of heat. And another reason for that is that it's concentrated into this very small space. You have 650 lumens coming out of, let's take a look at this really quick. So if I go here, get this down, get that out. Okay, so I'll take this right here. It looks like it's 10.5 millimeters wide. So we've got 650 lumens coming out of 10.5 millimeters. So that's a pretty concentrated beam over a very short, over a very not wide distance. So yeah, you will get burned with that. All right, so let me shut this down. So that's the side light system. There's also a ultraviolet light here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the ultraviolet. So you can use this for, determining if cash is counterfeit or not, that kind of thing. It's pretty interesting. People also use it in bathrooms at hotels and things like that to see how disgusting they are or not disgusting. So that's another reason to use it. But it is something that you can use. It's another tool. And then it has pretty much all of the. Let me pop this up real quick. So this comes right off. This is kind of an optional thing on here. So there's the Rovyvon Aurora A5. It's got the European electronic seals on it for recycling and everything else, non-toxicity, all that stuff. Yeah, very nice little unit. Again, this is with the 300 milliamp hour battery comes with it. It has the USB-C port on the side, and I did charge it. It charges it very quickly. It has a blue indicator light as it's charging, and it does switch to green when it's fully charged, similar to what the other ones here. These are both show red when they're first coming on. So this is another S11, and this is what we're going to use for showing how the functionality of the side panel works on this one. It has the exact same board, I believe, in it. The circuit board as these two are the same S11s. The head on this one is slightly larger. I think the heat sink is, I'm not quite sure. I haven't seen the heat sink. I haven't opened this one up to take a look. But I think it's roughly the same size as that one. You can see on the A5 that the heatsink is much more prominent on the inside. You can actually feel the weight of it. This one doesn't feel that way. I'm not quite sure what's in here. Let me take a look real quick here. Unscrew it. Yeah, this is cheap. There is no brass heatsink in here, and there's a plastic lens. Yeah, this is considerably different from even the other S11 that I was looking at previously. So this one the lens goes directly over there. And that might be why I get slightly different settings for these two. But again, the board, this one claims also to have a 500 milliamp hour battery in it, and that cannot be the case because they also claim to have the exact same runtime as this one, which is probably 250 to 300 milliamp hour. So yeah, one of these two is lying or exaggerating the truth. And there's a couple other threads I saw online that are saying the same things, that they seem to keep on changing exactly what these things are running on, depending on when the instruction manual is printed. So anyway, just be aware of that when you're considering purchasing them. I've had really no major problems with them not working. The two S11s that I have here, they work fine. I just don't think they're going to be as rugged and as capable as what we're seeing with the Aurora here. This is a whole different beast compared to these. So anyway, I got you here. Let's run through the side panel here. So 3 quick hits on the power supply. 1, 2, 3. And gosh, it just doesn't want to do it for me. Let me try one more time. 1, 2, 3. There we go. So that's the flash. Another one that takes it to a much slower flash. Another one takes it to just a single white. This is the ultraviolet light source. You can see my fingers are blue. Another one, and you have a blinking red light. Another one, and then you have a slower blinking red light. Another one, and this alternates between a kind of a blue and a red, back and forth, or police strobe, as some people call it. And then another little strobe setting, and a slower strobe setting. So let me shut that down. And that's pretty much it for this flashlight. Again, the other S11 has similar functionality, so you can use the same thing. The other thing that the A5 has that the other two don't have is a lockout function. So you press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it confirms with the two blinks that you're locked out. And then if you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it blinks 3 times to tell you that you are unlocked. So then it works perfectly well. But I've never really had a problem with these S11s just powering up on their own, or having any problems with them pushing into anything else. It takes a pretty significant push down on it to get it going. But yeah, anyway, that's what we've got here with these three. And now we're going to get into the data that I collected on all three of them. It's pretty interesting. So I thought this might be an easier way to show all three of these together. And I'm going to then show you the table representing each of these flashlights individually. So that's the Rovyvon on the outside. I'm going to call this one the S11 short, just because of the dimension on it. And this will be the S11 long, which is the longer version of the S11. Keep in mind that these two are made by different manufacturers, and they do not share the same internal circuitry as the Rovyvon. The Rovyvon is totally unique. These two do share internal circuitry. It appears anyway, as if both circuit boards are close, if not identical, to each other, as well as the bulbs that they're using in here, the LEDs. They appear to be the same as well. So let's go through this really quickly. But on here, what I've done is I've used a lux meter, and I'm shooting the flashlight directly into the lux meter at exactly ½ a meter away from it. So that's what these represent, is a 1/2 meter, the flashlight is 1/2 a meter away from the lux meter and taking these recording these lux settings. So this is probably not the standard way to do this, but I'm more interested in the ratios that you're seeing here. You know what I've told you about the Rovyvon at this point, and you know what the high is and the low is, and now we can take the medium and we can kind of drill down into what's going on with the S11s. So the Rovyvon A5 is showing 8,192 lux at ½ a meter. That's the turbo setting. The equivalent on the two S11s is 1782, which is identical, which kind of supports the idea that the power source, as well as the circuit board itself and the bulbs, are pretty similar, if not exactly the same. I think where we start to see the discrepancies between on the S11s is in the hardware, in the lenses that are being used by each of these manufacturers that are slightly different. They have some variation in how they disperse the light that's coming out. So keeping that in mind, the high level for the Rovyvon, again, is way above ratio-wise the other two, the 512 and the 548 of the two S11s. And then when you get down to medium, you're at 548, which is for the Rovyvon, and that's pretty much the equivalent of the high rating for both the generic S11 and long and the short, which is pretty interesting. The medium levels are very, very low for both of those, and that's where you start to see things in some of these ratios kind of fall apart, as far as the 84.4 for the S11 long and the 128 for the generic S11 short. I think a lot of that, again, is the hardware that's being the manufacturers put into those two flashlights. So the low setting, and this is again represents on the Rovyvon, is the 0.5 lumen setting. Is showing a 4.9 here, and that's not in lumens, that's in lux. Just want to be clear on that. And then the other two are showing 27.8 and 24.4. These side lights are also all over the place as well. Keep in mind that the only one of these flashlights that has two side light settings for the white light is the Rovyvon A5 with 11.3 and 48.5 for the high setting. The generic S11 long has one setting at 10.5, which is, I guess, close to the 11.3, and the generic S11 short has a setting of 64, which is pretty high. It's actually higher than the setting that you were getting on the Rovyvon A5. So it's a pretty interesting setup here for what you're considering. I've enjoyed using this one, the S11 short, for about a year now. It's an inexpensive one, but again, when you start to get down into the actual quality of the flashlight itself and long-term use, it does start to look like the Rovyvon is a considerable value considering what you're getting out of it with a 2-year warranty. I'm not even sure that there are warranties with the other two, but yeah, it's been really an interesting endeavor to go through and test and play with these. So that's all I've got for today. If you would like to see more videos like this, please leave some comments down below in the comment section, and let me know what you're interested in. I want to be real clear though, the Rovyvon did send me this flashlight. They have not compensated me in any way for this review. I'm sure they'll like parts of this review and not like other parts of it, but this is just my honest editorial opinion on what I think of this flashlight. I actually like the flashlight, and probably will end up testing it and using it extensively in the future. But if you have other ideas, please do send them that way and drop them into the comment section. Please do subscribe, and please do like the video if you did like it. Thanks again for stopping by. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch these, and I hope to see you again in the near future. Take care.